Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 156 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and we've got a great show today. We're going to be focusing in Kessler and Winnetka Heights, which are in the Cliff. You don't want to miss those.
And in our second segment, we're going to talk about the third quarter stats. What happened in the third quarter of this year?
It's quite amazing.
It
Great
is.
houses, and the information that you have, you do not want to miss it. It is interesting, not surprising. Lots of other adjectives, I'm sure.
Yeah, our marketing department does a really cool job of putting together a quarterly report that talks about not really just what went on in that quarter, but it also compares with a year before. And I think that part of it's most interesting to me right now.
Yep, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next year, too. You got your crystal ball shined? Help us out. Ben, we may have to make a blooper out of that. That was good, Jeff.
It was better,
so fast.
It was better than the alternative.
Woo! Did not expect all that. Woo, you saw
My friend
that.
George Amerson used to say, if I had a crystal ball, I'd walk different. So.
Okay. And we're back. All right. So the weekend was an interesting weekend. We got two houses under contract, and it was a fight. But nonetheless, good homes. Everybody's excited about inspecting well. It's interesting. People always ask, why do you inspect a brand new construction home? Because a lot of times the builder's going to tell you, the city's going to take care of it. They look at everything. That is not the case. So we've got a really good client that we were in Wiley with this last night, in fact, and great inspection. Overall, the home was in excellent condition. But there are elements that they need to check up on. And so it's a really great investment in the property. Also, it gives you kind of a baseline so that, you get a home warranty for 365 days. So about 350, it's great to have that inspector come back out, do one more look over, compare versus the last inspection report, and make sure everything's tightened up and good for the next 10 years.
It is a great way to do that one-year punch list, because that most builders offer that 1, 2, 10 warranty, which is what you're talking about. The 1 year that covers kind of bumper to bumper. 2 years is major mechanical, because more than likely the AC systems and the appliances and all that are under warranty for 2 years, and then they do 10-year structural. But that 1 year is, like you're saying, it is critical.
It is. And if you can get it to them, days 355, it's great.
Yeah.
That 10-day period. But, anyway, it's a wonderful thing to get done, and I feel great about that. Karen, you're in good hands. So other than that, I think the market has not really slowed down much.
I really don't think so either. I mean, it's funny how our business was, we used to spend a lot of time on the weekends, and it was out showing, and it was showing those buyers, the 10 or 12 properties, and then we do 2 open houses on Sundays and each. And now I feel like this year we've gotten our weekends back a little bit, just because of the way the shift in the market's occurred.
So surprising.
Yeah, and
In a good way, but it's still... Oof.
Yeah, and it's been great, because I've spent more time in pools this summer than I've ever spent in my life, which, I love that. I love to go hang out in pools and drink and chat with my friends. And
You have a good friend base.
Yeah.
Y'all all have web toes and fingers.
Yep,
So.
we spend a lot of time doing that. So
You do.
of course, now as you can tell, we're both dressed in our Texas winter outfits. So the weather has changed a bit today.
Actually lit the fire last night for the first time. I don't have the heat on in the house, and I said, why turn the heat on? Let's just start the fire. It was really nice. So it was good. Watched Houston lose, which was unfortunate.
Sports ball.
Sports. Yes, sports. Anyway, let's talk about the market that is last week versus the week before.
Let's do. So new listings this past week are down just a smidge, down about 5% to a little over 2,000. Back on market, there were a fewer that came back on the market at 535. Less price decreases. That's where people change the price on their property. And the number of price increases went up, which was really, I need to delve into that, see what that was about, because that's a big jump up.
And then option period, that's the point when you get it under contract and you're doing your inspection, that's actually down 7% versus last week. And then under contract is when it moves out of the option period, and you've negotiated and you agreed to everything. That also is down 11%, 375 versus 418 the previous month. And then pending. Now, pending is when you pretty much are headed to the closing table. It can happen at any time. We usually wait until after the appraisal, after we find out that underwriting has said it's blessed and there's no more conditions. And that's when we move it into pending. And that's down 5% to 2875.
The number of solds went up in the last week, though, and that is reflective of the end of the month, which, the end of the month really occurred kind of over a weekend this time. Yep. So most of the people that that closed their transactions in October closed them on Friday of last week, and then Monday and Tuesday of this week they'd be on putting the data in. So we're seeing that pop up a little bit, just really because of a weekly timing thing.
And I also think that if we were to actually compare the entire month, I think that every week we've had a decrease in the inventory. And I think that that's not like something that alarms most agents who have been in this for quite some time, because we all know that this is like one of the last pushes. And so we see as Halloween approaches, Thanksgiving is around the corner, as is Christmas. This is typically when people don't want to have their house on the market. They don't want to have people walking through it. When they sell it, they have to sell. It's not just a luxury.
Yeah, and it works really both ways. I've got one of the documents that I always kind of pull out and kind of refresh my memory with this time of year. Talks about the 15 reasons. The 15 reasons it's good to sell a house around the holidays, and because I kind of need that refresher about. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Oh, that does make, because there are. If you have a need to sell, it's as good a time of year as any to do that.
I agree with that. I would say that if you think it's going to come on the market, contact us. It is so important to get it photographed before all the Christmas decor goes up.
I would agree. Yeah.
It doesn't have to go on the market, but getting those pictures done so it doesn't date the house is critical, I think. So
I would agree.
2 cents. All right, what's the first house, Jeff?
The first house we're going to talk about today is a really, really cool opportunity for someone, and it is at 515 South Willamette. And this is great because it's in Winnetka Heights, but it is not in the Winnetka Heights Historic District. So if you want to live in that neighborhood that's got all of that charm and the tree-lined streets, but you don't want to have to deal with the
restrictions
nature,
and guidance.
the restrictions and guidance of a historic district, this is the house for you. Location-wise, super convenient, right off of 12th Street and that Jefferson connection. Not very far from I-35. You have the Tyler Zang DART station just south of there, which is a really great access point to the DART rail system. If you want to get out, you've got Kidd Springs Park, you've got Lake Cliff Park not very far away. Lots of outdoor opportunities nearby.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm going to be interested in watching is going to be Jefferson Street, because I feel like as we see everything from Davis Street, which is actually moving further and further south and further west, there's going to be a point in time when land is going to be becoming so expensive there that Jefferson will be just a natural absorption, and it has such a strong background. And it also is just so well laid out that it could be such an amazing street again. Not that it's not now, but it would just be interesting to see what happens to it.
It will. And, Jefferson is really kind of the core of Oak Cliff. It was the downtown of Oak Cliff when downtown was its own municipality. There are still some really great places. There's the big Fiesta grocery store there. There's La Marijuana right down the street. The restaurant that we really enjoy going to is the Charcoal Broiler.
So that's so West Texas to me, because it's got a giant Hereford cow on top, like a 14-foot tall Hereford cow. I hope it never leaves. I hope whoever buys it is hipster enough to keep it and salvage it. Yeah. I mean, it's a great one.
And the Texas Theater's right there, where where Lee Harvey Oswald was captured.
Oh, that's right.
They still have the seat that he was captured in, ribboned off or barricaded off, so nobody can sit in it, because it's got, they're using the theater for more modern day productions now, but they want that historical area kind of held with it.
Not going to say anything.
Anyway, move on.
So 51.5 Willamette Avenue is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's 1,643 square feet. Don't be fooled. This is not a duplex. It actually is a single family home. The entrance on the right-hand side takes you directly into the living room. The other side that you see here, that actually opens up into a office or the second bedroom that they have.
And these were intentionally built this way because many times they would have a couple of generations of family living there, and so you had your main entrance, but then when you also had the other people that would be coming in at a different time, or maybe they'd be working a late shift or something, they would have a door directly into their bedroom.
And here it is right here. You can see it just behind the other white door. The other thing too is you kind of had like the original Airbnb borders. They was a quick way to get additional income back in the day. One of the things about this house is it has such an amazing bones to it. The ceilings are so high and the rooms are really great size. So when you come in and if you're looking to make a flip or make this your permanent residence, you have so many opportunities with this home.
You really do. And as you're looking at some of these photographs, you'll see where there's pieces of trim missing or maybe a stress crack here and there in the wall. But the owners had all the foundation work done when they bought it about 10 years ago. We are supposed to have an engineering report within the next day or so, but when we get to talk about the price point, you'll see that this is it's one of those that you can spend a lot of money on and still be safe within your budget of that neighborhood.
Yep. One of the things that we really like, and when we're looking at homes that have the potential to become more, is the size of the rooms. And again, we're looking at the master bedroom at the back of the house. Lots and lots of natural, great light. It doesn't feel cramped. You can see here how they've worked in a closet, which you typically don't get walk-in closets when you're looking at homes of this age, and it hasn't really taken anything away from the bedroom, so it is that large.
A really good sized bathroom in the hallway. Much of the home is still original. The hardwood floors are just spectacular in this home. At some point, someone put a deck, and they did a really good quality deck with Trex on this and covered part of it, and you've got this huge backyard.
You do. And the other thing too is one of the things that you want to make sure is that when you're doing some renovation on the work, you've got space to be able to keep prying eyes out of it. And this has a great 8-foot fence, board on board, and it is a horizontally run. One of the other things that we like about this lot is that it's a 50 by 150, which is just shy of 0.2 of an acre. Great space. I believe there's an alley in the back way as well, which is really great because it allows you to get in and out with your work.
So 515 South Willamette Avenue, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, built in 1925, a little over 1,600 square feet, and it is priced at a remarkable $275,000, which is $167 a square foot.
Yep, and there'll be a link in the comments below to this house. If you want more information about it, just click on it. It'll take you to a map, additional images, and if you'd like to see this or any of the other great homes that are in the Winnetka neighborhood, let us know, and we'd be happy to make that happen.
Sure will.
The next house we're going to move over to is going to be 1111 South Canterbury Court. What a great area. This is one of the neighborhoods that personifies what the Cliff is. The Cliff has so much topography, and I think it's one of the few areas, if you're not from Dallas, you might not know where you can get topography. This is one of the great areas where the topography is such an amazing character.
And Canterbury Court is one of the premier streets in the Kessler Park neighborhood. Circle Street, it's a little odd because, there is West Canterbury and then there's South Canterbury Court. It's a little, it kind of throws you off a bit, but you can't get lost on it.
No, and the great thing is you've got people who have lived here for 30 years, and you've got people who have just discovered this neighborhood. It's such a great melting pot of people that just want to come, and they really do have their eye on preserving and making this neighborhood one of those neighborhoods that just is sought after for time and time again.
Super great green space available. This is just steps away from the Stevens Park tennis courts, which rolls into the Stevens Park golf course. I'm not a golfer, but my friends that are say that this is by far one of the best municipal golf courses in the city of Dallas.
Well, Jack and Dave live just around the corner from here, and they like it just to go walk baby in that area because it has so many little great sidewalks and trails to get around, and it's so scenic. And again, you do get that heart rate because of the topography through there.
Yeah, you really do. And in terms of restaurants in this area, there is you're really kind of halfway between Trinity Groves and Bishop Arts. And you have so much flexibility because, as you go to Trinity Groves, you've got everything from barbecue to high-end Chinese. And then you get over to Bishop Arts District and you have, what's the new restaurant that you just talked about?
May. It's owned by the people who are the creators of 8 Clove in the Farmers
Market. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a French Indian, which sounds really delicious. We'll have to definitely take Lactate, but I think it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it really does. And then, in Bishop Arts, you've got Hunky's at the other end of the spectrum, which if you've not had the Hunky's Impossible Burger, try it. It is absolutely amazing.
Sounds like a good idea for lunch. So this is 1111 South Canterbury Court. It is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage, just under 3,500 square feet. It is an amazing home. As you can see here, what we're looking at is a really cute charmer Tudor with a wraparound porch, typically more something that you would see with an American bungalow, but we really like the way that it works so well with this Tudor.
Really does, and gives you great outdoor space. I would probably have 75% of my meals right out here.
100%. It works out so well. This is a front yard neighborhood, kind of like Greenway. You get to know your neighbors. It's easy to sit. One of the things that they've done so well is create landscaping that does provide enough privacy that if you're sitting there, you don't have to be on display, but you can still wave and say hello.
Ultra large rooms. Original fireplace here has picture panel framing in the living room that I think really gives it that little extra layer of charm. Big wide open doorways, big wide open windows, hardwood floors that just really gleam all the way through.
And if you are a family that loves to get together with friends, family, whomever, this is an amazing, entertaining both dining room and kitchen. This kitchen is set out large enough to be able to serve from, but also you could have multiple people cooking here because of the way that it flows, which is wonderful. And you can see here, probably 3.5 feet on either side of that island, making it such a great way to work. Plus, if you look over to the right-hand side, you'll see that you have a window over the sink, which opens up to this living room.
Yeah, and this is a great sized den living room combo. Could be a great game room. Lots of light with all of the windows that are in the corner there.
And master is going to be downstairs just off of this room, and it is also a really great size. Nice natural light that you see here from the windows. One of the things that is so important is being able to have closet space. Not photographed here, but I believe there are 2 good-sized closets, so no one goes without. And then you come into a renovated bathroom. Again, what we're looking for are light and bright. They've done a really good job of maximizing the space. No dedication for a tub, which I don't think you really need to because you've got plenty upstairs, but you do have the double vanity and a beautiful walk-in shower.
Yeah, they've done such a fantastic job with this and really kept the feeling and genre of the older home in the older neighborhood, but have really completely modernized the home where regardless of where you're moving from or what you're used to living, this is easy to walk into.
Yep, and they've done work to this home. They've added this second story, but they've done it in a way so that it doesn't feel like an add-on. So once we run upstairs, you can see this is one of 2 bedrooms upstairs. They did a great job of maximizing the pitch within the original roof that allowed them to create these interesting and architectural settings. Playing off, you get desk space and built-in space as well. Wonderful light. Again, you just see a really functional space.
This provides the center space between those 2 bedrooms upstairs provides a really great game room, kids room, study room, whatever you need it to be.
And then we've got a natural gate, or we've got a gate that allows us to open up to a large oversized garage. You can see it also has space. So if you need an art studio or just storage, you've got that. One of the things we wanted to point out is that there is plenty of room if you ever wanted to decide to bring in a pool. It's a great way to do this, and it opens up so well.
So this is 1111 South Canterbury Court. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage built in 1925, about 3,500 square feet. It's priced at $1.1 million, which brings it in at about $315 a square foot. And we'd like to say thank you to Kathy Hewitt and Steve Habgood for letting us talk about their home today. If there are any, if you'd like to see other pictures that we didn't get to include in the presentation today, just click the link below. If you'd like to take a look at the home, let us know. We'd be happy to make that happen, and we will be right back. There are lots of ways to keep up with us. Visit and like our Facebook page to watch us live and get updates about future show topics. Also, visit our Instagram account where you can see the latest homes we have for sale.
You can also check out our website at updikepugh.com, where you can create customized searches of active and sold homes that you may find of interest. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth, visit homeprice.fyi and you can get a price instantly. Just enter your address and a couple of other pieces of information and we will email you a price. If you are on the go and podcasts are better for you, our second segments are available on iTunes and Spotify. Last of all, you can reach out to us by phone or text at 214-377-2223.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the second segment, episode 156, Sold with Updike Pugh. And we're going to talk about third quarter stats.
Excellent. Q3, in fact. Q3, the data that we have is both very large, so it's all of North Texas. We zero in, pull in Collin, and then go and look directly into Dallas. So it's a really great way to look, kind of see what trends are happening, who's stepping out of the norm. But overall, it is an interesting market, Jeff.
It really is. And we are so lucky that we work for the company that we do, because every quarter we get this really detailed, well put together report that we can send to our clients and customers and talk about here. And it's, this is just I think a labor of love between Travis Matthews running being over a lot of the company, but certainly the financial part of it. And then Remington Reese and his team putting together this in such a great format. They actually break this down, and I think they do 13 different counties. And like you said, we're only going to talk about Dallas and Collin because that's really where most of our business ends up being.
Yep. So the first side that we'll take a look at is going to be the North Texas market as a whole. And that's a really large market. And you can see what we're going to be looking at is the same information for all three of these markets. So on the left-hand side, you can see the price ranges. They're going to be from 0 to 300,000 and then all the way up million plus. And Q3 for 2021 will be in the first column on the left. The middle column will be the Q3 2020. And finally, it'll be the changes, so we can get to compare and see what's happening both with active, pending, and sold.
And I think there's a lot of data here, so I don't want to really go through every line of it, if that's okay with you. Okay,
No,
didn't think so.
don't do that.
But let's talk about the $300,000 to $750,000 price point. That is a kind of a good general range in the middle of the market, I think. And in Q3 of 2021, there were 9,478 homes that were active. There were 18,000 of those that were 18,000 that were pending. And then in the third quarter, there were almost 20,000 homes sold in 2021.
And I think in that category, if you look on the far right hand under the Q3 change active, 34% is the greatest change that any of these price categories saw, with 34%. And that is a lot, because what we see there is usually the entry level position. And I think that at this point, what we're seeing is there's a lot of competition right there in that price point, both with first-time home buyers and investors at this point.
I think one of the things that we're also seeing, and we'll probably see as we move on through this report, is the prices in general tend to be moving up. And so there are a number of homes that are worth $300,000 a year ago, and now they're $350,000. Therefore, they move out of that category into the category below.
Yep. And if you look in the 750 to 150 and the 1.5 million and above, there's a decrease in the activity of 13 to 14%, but there was an increase of 45 to 51% in the number of solds. And that is a squeeze on that market. That percentage right there will be the greatest percentage that we'll see in those two price points through the other two slides.
And jumping down to the bottom half of this slide, this presents the gray bars are the number of homes sold that year by year by year, and you could tell from 2015 to 2020 that the number of homes that were sold in a year just kind of continued to go up. And then we hit 2021, where the number of homes fell, but the average sold price in thousands went from 344 in 2020 to 410 in 2021.
That's amazing. And if you look a little bit further down, the average price per square foot in 2015 was $96 for all of North Texas. And in 2021, it is up to $188. And that is a substantial increase.
It really is. So let's break this down and jump into the two submarkets. We're going to look at the same data of information in both Collin and Dallas County. Again, let's focus on the $300,000 to $750,000 market. That in the third quarter of 2021, there were 1,255 that were active, 3,771 that were pending, and 4,176 that were sold. Compare that directly, that same row across. In 2020, there were 1999 or 2,000 active listings in that price point, and then pending there were 3,799, about the same number, but then in 2020 there were fewer of those sold. I think what a part of that we're seeing is the activity in that Collin County market that really just continued to blossom because of all of the corporate relocation that was occurring there.
You also look at the 0 to 300,000, go all the way to the right-hand side in the active, and there was a change between 20 and 21 that was a decrease in 71% in that price point. If you also follow that across, that means there was 60% less pending and 65% fewer sold. If you compare that to the 1.5 million, there was a decrease in the 2 years by 12%, but an increase by 138%, and that is staggering. That 1.5 million market out there is exploding as we see it.
I think I'm these are all open to interpretation of what's really going on. But one of the things that I think is the Collin County market traditionally hasn't been that high end of a market.
Correct.
But we are seeing more and more builders that are going out there because they can get decent sized lots. They can put the $2 million home on the lot and it's going to sell because there's industry that supports that type of buyer out there.
The other thing too is part of me wonders if the people that are in that 300,000, if they are homeowners that if they sold, yes, they would make great return on that money, but then where would they go? Because there has been such an uptick in those price points that I think it gets more and more difficult.
And as we drop down to the second half of that page, again, we're going to look at the gray bars, which indicate the number of homes sold each year as you go along. And you can see that 15 was great, 16 a little lower, 17 a little lower, 18 a little lower. But then in 19, we really began to see that whip back where they jumped to 1,625 homes. Then they jumped by to 2,002 homes in 2020. And then the number of homes fell back again in 2021, I think, again, just because of that lack of inventory.
Yep. And if you see on the average price per square foot, that first line there, in 2015, it was 112 in Collin County. And when you move over to 2021, it shot up to 191, and that is a 71% increase. One of the other things that kind of highlight is that in 2021, the months of inventory, typically 4 is healthy, they are showing 1.1, and my notes there say scary.
Let's move on to Dallas because I think this will be interesting to people as well. Again, we've got that, those two first price ranges that have the majority of the activity in it. It used to be that 300 and under was really the starter home number, and now that's grown to be 350 to 4, I would say.
Even 5 sometimes.
Yeah. Going again to the $300,000 to $750,000 range, in the third quarter of 2021, there were 1,736 of those homes that sold, but jump over to that second set of columns, which is the third quarter of 2020, and there were over 2,500 homes sold in the third quarter of 2020. And that's a 30% increase in the number of homes that were sold from, decrease, not increase, decrease between those two. And again, I track that to a lack of inventory.
But if you look at that exact same column, pulling that out, what makes it even more kind of like scratch your head is that 13.3% more homes sold in that exact price point. But there was less to sell. I mean, that it is a big change. 1.5 million, there was down, if you look the far column, down 45% in active, down 6% in sales, but again, it was up only 3.2%, probably because there's so many more of those homes that get traded. One of the things kind of to point out, houses at this price point, a lot of times in Dallas, can be traded offline. So we may not have the data there to support a true picture of this.
That's true. All the homes that are sold in this report are ones that have gone through MLS, and there is about 5% of the market, give or take, that is sold outside of MLS.
Yep.
Let's drop down to the second half of that screen and look at the number of homes that were sold, comparing 2015 all the way through to 2021, and it's that very similar pattern that we saw to the Collin County report. I again note that in 2020, there were about 2,700 homes that were sold in Dallas County in the third quarter, and that dropped in 2021 because just a lack of inventory, as you can see down toward the very bottom of that report, where it talks about days on market, where in 2015 we had 2.7 months of inventory, and it began to grow a bit. But then in 2020 and 2021, it dropped down pretty dramatically and is currently 1.6 months of inventory.
And of that 1.6, it looks like days on market is coming in right at 24, which is 20 days less than the previous year. And that is substantial. You'll also see the percentage of sold price to the list price ratio. Here in Dallas, we're looking at about 100%. So I think that is able to be balanced by the people who pay over and then the people who get a little bit less, but it's coming in right at 100.
Yeah, I would agree. So it's still a great time to buy a home. Yeah. If you have an interest in selling your home and making a move up, certainly reach out to us. We are happy to help you with that.
And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.